Hello again. In case anybody new joined, my name's Ariel. I'm one of the online career and academic advisors.
And my name is Tori Hunter. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Financial Assistance Services here at St. Petersburg College.
We're going to talk to you about the main steps to getting started at SPC, both from an academic standpoint and from a financial aid standpoint. For academic speaking, the three main steps are obviously to fill out your application, pay your application fee, and then we need your high school or college transcripts. If you already have an associate's degree or higher, you just need college transcripts. Otherwise, we need college and high school transcripts or GED. And then placement testing. Not every student needs to take a placement test. There's some variation depending on where and when you went to high school. If you've taken previous college classes, when you meet with an advisor, they can go over that specifically for you. But just be aware that it might be a requirement. Once those items are taken care of, then you'll have your introductory advising session with your personal advisor. And at that point, they'll go over if you have any transfer credits from other colleges. They'll also go over degree selection. And if you're not sure, they can talk you through that, talk about what jobs you're interested in, what we offer, look at the curriculum, those sorts of things. So help you get started with picking a degree, and then choosing classes for your first semester, getting you registered for that orientation, and then any general questions you have, they can answer at that time as well.
Now I'll go over the financial aid process in order to apply. So as Ariel said, you'll need to apply to the college and receive an SPC ID number. When your FAFSA comes in, the free application for federal student aid, it will link to your account using your name, date of birth, and social security number. Once that information is matched, it will allow the information to load in. When you first apply for the FAFSA, you want to make sure you have your social security card on hand because your name, when entered, needs to match what is on your social security card. That's very important. You'll also want to have 2015 tax return information or any untaxed income financial documentation. The first step is to visit the FAFSA website. So you'll go to fafsa.gov, that's FAFSA.gov as in Victor. Once you locate that site, you'll see at the top of the page an icon that looks like a lock. You want to click on that. That will take you to the FSA ID website. The FSA ID is where you will create a username and password so that you can access certain websites for the Department of Education and also sign your FAFSA once you're finished. Once you've created your FSA ID, you will then navigate back to the FAFSA website and click on the login icon on the website. Once you access the FAFSA application, it's really just questions about you, your family, and your household and income. So I know some students feel overwhelmed when they're completing the document, but really it's just questions about you. The first part of the FAFSA will ask you information about you, your age, and then it will navigate throughout the application based on your answers. So every student will have a different experience within the FAFSA application. When you get to the section where it asks you what schools you want to send your information to, you can enter up to 10 schools. Our school code is 001528. By entering that on the FAFSA, it ensures that we will get your information once the process is completed. When you get to the section about tax information, please keep in mind it is asking for 2015 tax information. Do not enter any information about 2016. If you are considered a dependent student by FAFSA, you may need to enter your information as well as a parent's. So when you're doing your FSA ID, you'll need an FSA ID as well as one parent if you're considered a dependent by FAFSA. Don't worry if you didn't create it at the beginning of the application, you can create the FSA ID when you get to the end. Once you enter your information for taxes or income received in 2015, you will navigate through some more questions until you get to the end. That's where you'll use your FSA ID again to sign and submit the FAFSA. You will then come to a confirmation page where they'll give you general information about the school and you can exit out of the portal. If you're going to start classes in our summer session that starts in May, please do the 2016-17 FAFSA. If you're starting in August, our fall session, you'll need to do the 2017 and 18 FAFSA. Both applications are available on the website. So again, if you're starting in May, do the 2016-17 FAFSA as well as the 17-18 version. On both applications, please put 2015 tax or financial information. Once you finish the FAFSA, what happens next? Well, you will get an email to whatever email address you entered on the FAFSA from the Department of Education telling you that it's being processed. In a few business days, you'll get a second email. Please read that email because it may say that there was an error on the application and you need to log back in using your FSA ID information to make corrections. If the email says that it's been submitted and sent to the school, we will pull it in the next business day. At that point, you want to start monitoring your MySPC student email account. Financial aid at St. Petersburg College will email your student email telling you we've received your FAFSA and welcoming you to whichever academic year you applied for. At that point, you'll monitor your to-do list in MySPC to check to see if you were selected for a process called verification. That is when FAFSA tasks the college with making sure that the information you put on the FAFSA was accurate. Don't feel as though you did anything wrong. It doesn't mean that you made an error. It's just a check and balance. So we will then put certain checklist items on your to-do list in MySPC. If you see an item that says initiated, that means we need that document from you. The forms are also available on our website, and if we're asking for tax information, it is not your tax return. It's actually a document from the IRS. You can visit irs.gov to obtain any tax return documents that are requested on your MySPC account. Please note that you cannot be considered for financial aid until you've actually gone through the verification process if you're selected. So it's really important to monitor your to-do list to make sure if we request items from you, you're turning them in as quickly as possible. Don't worry, you do have enough time to get these processes done, but if you haven't done so already, you want to do them as soon as possible. Once we receive your FAFSA information, then the college can determine what type of aid and how much you can receive. It's really important that you go through the admissions process so that you are listed as a degree-seeking student because we've received any transcripts that are necessary. You cannot receive financial aid without being in a program. So that is part of what Ariel mentioned with the admissions process. Once you're a degree-seeking student, because we've received your transcripts, financial aid can then continue on in the process. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us by email or by calling us. But really, the information is all on our website. If for some reason you're having difficulty navigating the FAFSA site, you can always contact the college and we'll be more than happy to try to assist. Or you can contact FAFSA at 1-800-4FED-AID.
And I did want to touch on something that Tori mentioned, which is the to-do list, or you might hear some people call it your checklist in your MySPC account. That's going to be critical not just for your financial aid, but for academics. Anything the college needs from you or that you need to complete will be in that to-do list. So when you apply, that advising session, the placement test, the transcripts, those will all be listed in your checklist as well. And the student email is crucial. A lot of students don't realize that they need to check their student email. They think things are going to come to their personal email. But there's federal privacy regulations that require things to go to your student email for security purposes. So anything that SPC is sending you is going to go there. So it's important to check it, if possible, daily, but at least regularly, because your teachers are going to be sending things there. Financial aid will send things there. Anything that we're trying to get in touch with you is going to go there. So just make sure that you know how to get to it and that you check it.
Exactly.
And if you like, you can set it up to forward to a personal email account. And that information is on our website as well if it's more convenient. But just be aware, you may have to log in and respond to some things on our side.
And we have a question asking if there's any tuition assistance for single moms. Your FAFSA application is your way to be considered for any aid that you may be eligible for. So not necessarily designated solely for single moms. We'll take your household structure into consideration, how many people are in your household, the income, and determine if you're eligible for any financial aid. And aid can be grants, that is considered gift aid, money that you typically do not have to repay. It can also be student loans. We also have work-study programs. So once your FAFSA information is received, the college can then determine what type of aid and how much you can receive based on your enrollment. We also have another question. Would you still have to provide FAFSA information if you're paying out of pocket? No, if you don't want to be considered for federal aid or maybe state or institutional grants, then you don't have to do the FAFSA. However, it is a free application. It's fairly simple to do, and by completing it, you may be eligible for grants that you weren't aware of. Also, some scholarships do require that the FAFSA be submitted. So if you're able to, I strongly advise that you do complete the FAFSA. I also want to mention, if you get to a site and they're asking for any form of payment, you are on the wrong site. You need to go to FAFSA.gov, and it's the free application for federal student aid, so there should never be a fee assigned to submitting the application. We have another question. Would I be able to get a Pell Grant, or do they have that anymore? Yes, they do have Pell Grants, yay. The Pell Grant eligibility, again, is going to be based on the information we receive with your FAFSA. So students are assigned what's called an EFC, that's your expected family contribution. That number lets the school know how much aid and what type of aid you are eligible for. So it's really important that you answer the information accurately on the FAFSA so that when we receive your information, we know what type of aid you're eligible for.
Do we have any other questions, either academic or financial aid questions while we're here? Looks like we've got one coming in. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks for joining us. And like we mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in chat for assistance, or you can go on to our advising website and you can schedule an appointment with an advisor. Oh, we did get one last minute question.
Oh, okay. I already used my FAFSA for the bachelor's degree now, so I think I am capped out. Well, that's a great point. You can receive Pell up through your first bachelor's degree. So once you've received a bachelor's, you are no longer Pell eligible. However, that does not mean that there aren't other types of grants or student loans that you can use towards your education. So again, do the FAFSA. That's the best thing to do in order to see what other aid you may be eligible for. With regards to scholarships, that is up to the donor or the entity that is giving the scholarship. So what you want to do is follow the rules set forth by that scholarship with regards to application. I'm glad that was mentioned, because at St. Petersburg College we have the Foundation Scholarship. So it's hundreds of scholarships just for students at SPC, and it's one simple application. That application opened on April 3rd and it closes on May 19th, and it's available on our website. You submit the application and they will figure out if you're a match for any of the scholarships that we have here at SPC, and if so, you'll receive an email to your SPC email account letting you know that you were selected to receive that scholarship. So please fill out the Foundation Scholarship, open until May 19th, and this is for consideration for the 17-18 academic year. If you're starting in the summer, that application has already closed, but it is open for all of next academic year. Any other questions?
No? All right.
No.
Well, again, thank you guys for joining us. I think our moderator put his contact information in the chat, so if you have questions, feel free to email. And then we look forward to seeing you or having you virtually at SPC. Have a good night.